Dave Portnoy over at Barstool News, or what? No, Barstool Sports, not Barstool News.
Call it Barstool News.
I guess we could call it Barstool News. Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy put out a video, and he was like, you know, guys, Mike Waltz has got to go. Let's take a listen.
I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, you're mad about this, but we had a president like Biden with dementia who had the nuclear codes. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That wasn't right then, and this isn't right now. In this new administration, you want to take accountability. Trump, you may love Michael Waltz. You love Pete Hesketh. You may love these guys. Somebody has to go down. To me, it's Michael Waltz. He's the one who added him to this conversation. But you can't have the top of the top security people in the United States with the most sensitive information in the world adding random editors of a magazine that hates Trump's guts to a group chat talking about an attack before it happens on a terrorist group. You can't poo-poo it. You can't downplay it. You have to sit up there and be like, holy shit, this is a fuck up of epic proportions. There will be accountability. I will get to the bottom of this. And frankly, I think, I don't like calling for people's heads. Michael Waltz, it seems like you're the guy who added him to the group chat. You have to lose your job.
Yeah. Basic.
Yes.
Basic stuff.
Yes.
You know? It literally says, Michael Waltz added you to the group chat. There's no sucking in. It's over.
Yeah, you
Case
added
closed.
him. You added him.
There was even there, now the current spin from MAGA is, oh, one of his deputies added him. Guess what? They literally said, no, the deputy didn't add him. Right. I added him. Okay, so, I mean, the only way maybe that you could get around it is my deputy sent me the guy's contact, and that's how the number got sucked into my phone.
Not even trying
But
that.
even if you did that, then fire the deputy. Why are we standing by this? Do you know who his deputy is? Because I do. Alex
that?
Wong.
Oh, yeah,
Alex Wong been around this town for a long time. All right, Alex Wong
Laura
worked for
Loomer's
Tom
coming after.
Cotton.
Laura Loomer's coming after Alex
As
Wong
she
now.
should. Yeah, great. Thank you, Laura, for your service. Alex Wong worked for Tom Cotton's unreconstructed neocon. 100% probably been leaking to Jeffrey Goldberg since the day he came to Washington. This guy's a complete, like, just blob individual.
Guy.
You know, not a surprise that Michael Waltz hired him. Those of us who track insider personnel been tracking this guy for a long time. But that's another thing, you know, for Waltz. Why are you protecting this guy then if it's not his fault? Then I can only surmise it's not his fault. It's your fault. Yeah, it's like there's the only way that this all went down. And yeah, Trump, for some reason, again, wants this to be the #1 story that is surrounding him. I mean, I thought he was on better ground. Let's just look, again, we could debate merits and all that stuff all day long. Even if you disagree on the deportations thing, and Glenn mostly convinced me that there were serious screw-ups there, that is a much better news cycle for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Immigration is his #1 issue right now. #1. Every single other issue is mostly underwater, according to a lot of these tracking polls on issues. Now, sure, caveats and all that stuff, etc. But that's where I want to be fighting. Right. My incompetence on a group chat joke, that's not where you want to be.
And underneath that is that you're bombing Yemen because you failed to end the war in Israel, and which has the White House having to respond to Portnoy.
That's
whenever
right.
Portnoy is being used against Caroline Leavitt in the press room, you're losing. So let's roll that real clip because it was just kind of funny.
That's right.
Can you just clarify who is investigating, who's leading that, and also Dave Portnoy, who endorsed President Trump, said today that he thinks that Mike Waltz should leave. Could you respond to that?
Sure. Great respect for Dave Portnoy, but I just answered that previous question from Jennifer. As for your original question about who's looking into the messaging thread, the National Security Council, the White House counsel's office, and also, yes, Elon Musk's team. Elon Musk has offered to put his technical experts on this to figure out how this number was inadvertently added to the chat. Again, to take responsibility and ensure this can never happen again.
Got all the greatest minds trying to figure this out. Don't worry, Portnoy. We'll get right to it.
Technical expert. Ryan, it's too much, man. You know?
So Tulsi, who handled herself okay, some lying 2 days ago, was brought back to the Hill. Yes. Let's roll some Tulsi from yesterday, because they're just still taking these.
They are just going to take. This is every time you testify for Congress, you're going to be forced to sit there and eat L after L after. There's no defending it. And watch. Let's take a listen.
The time Mr. Witkoff was actually in Russia during this chat discussion, was he not?
I was not aware of that.
Was he on his personal phone at the time?
I don't know.
Well, it's my understanding that he was indeed in Russia. Director Gabbard, you were also traveling during this discussion, correct?
Yes.
And where were you?
I was traveling through the Asia-Pacific region. I don't recall which country I was in at that time.
You don't remember the country?
I'd have to go back and look at the schedule.
We do, by the way, have news according to Witkoff.
Yeah, he didn't bring
He did not bring his phone.
Right.
So, okay, good.
Yeah. No, but actually there's two things there going on there. He goes, you guys, you idiots, you said that this was on my personal phone. I don't even have my personal phone in Russia. And you're like, okay, but you did just confirm that this was on your personal phone, man. You know, it's like you just admitted that this is your personal phone. Right. You're not supposed to do that.
Right.
You know, in terms of official government records.
They can penetrate your phone while it's sitting on your bedside table.
And not to be annoying, Ryan, because I do understand where people are going to take this the wrong way and be like, oh, are you asking for more inefficiency? I'd be fine if they use Signal, but you do need to preserve these records. The reason why you preserve it is because there might be, let's say, a plot to assassinate the president of the United States. That's never happened before. Mm-hmm. And then maybe a guy named Jefferson Morley, 60 years from now, needs to get to the bottom of said stuff and literally doesn't have access. Some of my favorite books are the reconstructions of very difficult policy periods. So for example, the decision to oil embargo Japan. It is so useful to go back and to read the internal discussion. Cordell Hull said this, in a memorial, and you could see the cables. You had our ambassador being like, don't do it. This is going to lead to this. Roosevelt, the minutes in the Oval Office. You can literally watch it all happen in slow motion. Same thing. Another one of my favorite books is called, The Best and the Brightest, David Halberstam, and specifically a reconstruction of the U.S. decision to, escalate into Vietnam. Same thing. Reading the cables, McGeorge Bundy, Robert McNamara, this stuff matters. I understand why the people in charge may not want it to be preserved, but for historical purposes, this is actually important. Someday, some naval historian out there is going to write about the ability of the Houthis, a non-state actor with limited technology, to fully blockade the entire Red Sea for the global empire. That's a remarkable event, no?
Right. Yeah, and they're going to have to rely on Fox News clips.
Right. They're going to have to rely on tweets and news clips and not be able to look back on it. And what I'm just saying is not just a norm. It's actually the law. You're supposed to have a records preservation. And for this reason, to be able to go back and for historical purposes and for subpoena and to make sure that the law is followed. And, they're making a mockery not only of that, but really, again, I just keep coming back to all of our intelligence. So same thing here, Director Ratcliffe from the CIA and Tulsi Gabbard still getting pressed, and they just have nothing to say. Let's take a listen.
Did this conversation at some point include information on weapons packages, targets, or timing?
Not that I'm aware of.
Director Gabbard, same question.
Same answer, and defer to the Department of Defense on that question.
Well, those are two different answers, but you're saying that was not part of the conversation.
That's my knowledge.
The precise operational issues were not part of this conversation.
Correct.
So that was previously, and they said precise operations were not included there. We showed you all the messages, guys. It's pretty obvious. Director Ratcliffe of the CIA, not that I'm aware of. What are you aware of then? You're not aware of your own group chat? What's happening?
I don't read every message in every group chat, but that seems like an important one.
But that's probably, out of all the messages in that chat, that's the only one I'm reading, right? That's the one that I'm like, okay, got it, paying attention. Yeah. And maybe you would want to scroll back in your phone and look at it. Look, they are continuing this of their own making. The easiest thing to do immediately after, Mike Waltz, we appreciate your service. Susie Wiles calls him up and says, Mike, listen, man, we all made mistakes.
You added a journalist.
The president needs his resignation letter on his desk right now. We got to go. We'll see. We wish you the best.
And then you move on.
And everyone moves on.
And it's a dumb
everyone
mistake.
Says, okay, it's really dumb mistake.
No foul.
Yeah, there might be one or two things, but instead, it's a 1 day thing now becomes a 1 week thing that we've been covering this. I guarantee you the fallout and all this is going to continue. Every Republican in Congress is going to get asked about this. every Republican or every member of the Trump cabinet, you're going to be pressed about that. They're not even going to be able to do a press conference now forever. I mean, Trump, every single, I watched the entire White House press briefing room. 9 out of 11 questions were about this signal chat. And she was like, is this all that you guys have to ask about? And it's like, yeah, because you're lying and you just keep saying stupid shit. Like, we're going to have our technical experts look into this. This is not going away.
Right.
And
the press loves when an official says a thing that can be verified.
Oh, 100%, same.
And you can verify that it's not true.
Yes.
Like, they love that.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Right. And, and you know, I think the public loves it too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, there's something about the story. It has penetrated the zeitgeist. People are loving it. They're eating it up. The memes
Real
are
crime,
everywhere.
but really stupid.
Yeah, it's the sheer stupidity of it. And then if we pair that at a major political level, if I'm the government, what do I want my narrative to be? I want it to be about tariffs. I want it to be about
That's right.
immigration.
We haven't talked about the auto tariffs.
That's right, auto tariffs and more. We haven't decided not to put in the show because it's actually kind of unclear what exactly they are, and I want to see the actual effect as they go in, just in terms of whether it applies to just finished cars or not. So we'll probably cover it on Monday. But the point is that you want like news about things that you're doing to be the thing. And so, again, like I said, even on the deportations, look, we can argue about due process and all that stuff all day long. At the end of the day, this stuff is pretty popular, in terms of deportation.
I will acknowledge that.
Yeah, it's popular. Like that's what the ground that I want to be fighting on. Just today, there was some MS-13 operation. Same thing. That's what you want the news to be about. Now, they can say, oh, it's your fault because you're not covering it. It's like, no. You're the people who made a colossal national security mistake, and you refused to fire the guy, and then beclown yourself for, a 72-hour period by attacking the people who reported it as opposed to the people who were responsible for it. You deserve everything that's coming your way. So this is the clown show. This is the car clown show that reminds me just of 2017. Except then I think Trump would have had the good sense to actually fire him. I mean, Scaramucci was fired after 13 days?
Yeah, and they're accidentally buttressing the credibility of the Atlantic and Jeffrey Goldberg.
You're right. I know.
People are gonna be like, oh, maybe that wasn't a houx.
Isn't that the worst
suckers
part?
and losers thing.
Isn't that the worst part, that the Atlantic has been getting a bunch more subscribers? It's like, guys, why do you do this? They need each other. They were failing. They literally were on their road to bankruptcy before all of this. And now you just gave them the #1 story in the world. It drove a ton of subscriptions. I bet you they printed millions just off of this story.
Don't they have Bezos's wife's?
No, Laureen Powell Jobs. Even worse. Steve Jobs.
That's right.
Steve Jobs' widow is the person who is bankrolled.
So they were going to be okay.
Yeah, they're always going to be fun. But why they even pretend to need to make money is always like a whole other. That's a difficult and different conversation. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.